protest this weekend over the way A-level results have been calculated and how to appeal them.
You probably know the numbers, but just to remind you, almost 40% of A-level grades awarded last Thursday in England were lower than the predictions from teachers. Let's speak to Professor Tina Isaacs, who sits on Ofqual's advisory group. Good morning. Good to speak to you this morning. Can I first of all ask you, what have you made of all the discussion, all the complaints from parents, from teachers, from students over the last few days?
Well, in a sense, they're absolutely understandable. Ofqual asked for a whole raft of evidence, including teacher assessments. It was teacher assessments alongside a whole bunch of other evidence. And once the algorithm was put into effect, many of those assessments were found to be overly generous. I'm a parent myself. I'm a governor at a school. My daughter teaches chemistry. I have been hearing a lot of discontent. But I do need to stress that Ofqual was trying to create the fairest system possible, given these unprecedented and extraordinarily difficult times.
I'm trying not to politicise your words here, but do you feel then, given what you've said over the last few days, do you feel that that's something that the government should have been making clearer? How do you feel about their sort of dealing with this situation over the last few days?
Okay, so the government makes policy. Ofqual simply carries it out. It's not simple, obviously, but Ofqual's role is to carry out government policy. And when policy shifts every 12 to 24 hours, Ofqual then has to deal with it as best it can. Hence the changes to the appeals process, which now Ofqual has taken off the board so that it can give as much consideration to it as possible, given the time frame. You know, the GCSE results are due out on Thursday, so we're going to have another wave of potentially not marked down, but potentially student grades that do not reflect the grades their teachers gave them.
I want to come back to you on the GCSE issue. And I should say we did ask to speak to the Education Secretary today, which sadly hasn't been able to work out. But you talk about the issue of fairness. And I know we could sort of trade examples all day, but I'll just read you this, which came from somebody who works on Newsnight. This is one specific example. It's a student called Abby from Bosworth who goes actually to a private school. She had a place at Lancaster University to read, and York as well, to read geography. She needed an A, a B and a B. She got an A, a B and a U. And the reason she got that is because essentially several years ago, somebody at her school got a U in maths. And she ranked bottom of her class for maths. And teachers will tell you that, I'm sure you're aware of this. They've been asked to rank all their students from top to bottom in the various subjects. She was predicted a B or a C, but because she was bottom of that list, and somebody at her school had previously got a U, she was given a U. Now, if fairness is the goal that you're aiming at, how is that fair?
Okay, so certainly on the face of it, that doesn't seem fair. And there will be lots, unfortunately, of instances just like this. What any kind of standardization system does is create as fair as possible, you'll note I'm not saying fair, as fair as possible, a system across the entire cohort and for individual schools, which means that individual students may not get the grades that, in this case, may not get the grades that they deserve. That's why there's going to be an appeals process in place. That's why people can take exams in the autumn. So no system is unfair. I think what people don't realize is that the examination system, as it runs every year, these sorts of unfairnesses happen due to the way cut scores are set. Right now, what's happening is the public is losing confidence in the system, and it is up to Ofqual, which I know is working very hard. It's up to Ofqual and especially the government to try to put in place something that will claw back some of that public confidence. I'm afraid it will not be able to claw back all of it.
And finally, just on that issue of public confidence, how concerned are you that what we see on Thursday with GCSE results will further see that confidence crumble?
I'm very concerned indeed. Yes, I'm very concerned indeed, because teachers are quite rightly, so don't get me wrong on this, I'm very sympathetic to this, but many teachers have been generous in their grade predictions, because it is quite natural to give someone the benefit of the doubt. You would do it, I would do it, everybody would do it. And for GCSEs, where you are talking about life chances of students, especially at that 3, 4, 5 borderline, you very, very much want your students in mathematics and English to get at least a 4 and possibly a 5, because that opens so many doors to them. And those are doors that should be open to as many students as possible.
Professor Tina Isaacs, really good to talk to you this morning. Thank you very much for spending a bit of time with us on breakfast.
And thank you for having me.
Let's continue talking about all of that now. And we can speak right now to Bill Watkin from the Sixth Form Colleges Association.